Ready? Start them up.
Bassmaster Classic fever. KVD wins. Xsense is in the house. All this and more coming up right now on another edition of Tackle Shop Live. Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live. My name is Mike Acord. To my right is George Acord and the ever so awesome CG Corbin Gottwalt. And on the camera, we have Nicholas Wink. How are you, Nick?
Doing good.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. We got Troy Rosenswig, Nick Williams. Roland, how are you, buddy? Corey, what's up, Corey? How are you doing, pal? Joseph, how you doing, Joseph? David Stottlemyre, what's up, David? Good to see you, buddy. Troy is Big Poppy Gottwald. That's right, man. Big Poppy.
He's gonna get shirts made. He sent me like a. I got a fan club out there, Mikey. He's got one design, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome, man. Jeff Riddle, how you doing, buddy? Jeff Brubaker is in the house. Yeah, good deal, man. Jerry Ray Schroeder, how are you doing, buddy? Ben the Buck Hunter, always in the house. Paul Batters, what do you say? Hey, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to say. Thank you so much for stopping by Tackle Shop Live. Sorry we missed you last week. We had a little bit of a snafu at my house I had to take care of, and we just couldn't get the thing going. But we're here now. We're going to have a great show for you, and we're going to double up some awesome content for you. So, yeah, George, we're in the house, and we've been busting it hard here at the shop, and we've been seeing all you guys and taking a lot of comments from you guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate all the support that you guys give us as always. Thanks for checking out our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can go on there and you can share it with your friends, and you can like it. You can do it right now and get everybody on to watch the show. We would appreciate that very much. So Mike Hayer, how you doing? Brian, what's up? Yeah, Susquehanna. Who's that? That's Caitlin. Hey, Caitlin, how you doing? All right. So Caitlin's going to be here helping us out also remotely. So what we got going on, George?
Well, it's after a week off, which was, we don't like missing a week of Tackle Shop Live. We're back, baby.
Yeah.
We're back, and we've been fishing. We've been working. We've been busy.
Yeah.
We've been talking to a lot of people coming through the door, and the bite's hot everywhere.
I know.
Yeah. Everywhere. I mean,
you were out on the Susquehanna on Sunday. You guys caught them pretty good.
Great day.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to people literally all over the country for the last 2 weeks on the phone, and they're catching fish everywhere. I mean, you name it, the bite's on. So it's a great time of the year to be a fisherman. It's a great time of year to be a bass head.
Ah, man, you ain't kidding, man. We're talking about what's coming up here this week. The rest of this week, we're probably not going to get any work done.
Well, I mean,
Speak for yourself, man. I mean, not everybody gets to, have their basement get flooded, go to graduation, fish the tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, we'd be getting ready, Mike.
As a group of self-proclaimed bass heads,
bass junkies. Yeah,
we are in Classic Week. which
Classic week.
which I rate above Christmas.
Wait, George.
I actually put a tree up for the Classic.
George, can you talk a little bit about this Classic experience? I mean, for those of you guys that may just be tuning in, I mean, we have the 2-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier, George Accord Jr. in the house tonight. So I mean, like,
no doubt.
You've been there, you've done
Been
that,
there.
you know, played that song and dance.
Yeah.
From an angling
Love
perspective, like, what's that week like? You know, you drive to a lake, you pre-practice, you get a couple days. Take us through like the media, like,
yeah, that's the biggest problem.
A lot of stuff behind the scenes that you know about that maybe our people don't, that are, you know, dreaming to fish the Classic.
Well, that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem. You know, when you are in the, you know, the hardcore tournament mode of your life, you know, like many of our viewers are. I mean, you're like fully involved, and you know, dink and dunk your way through, and the next thing you know, you qualify for the Classic. And you know, if you could just like put all that noise in the background, you probably, as a fisherman, would have a better experience from on the water. You know, it wouldn't take you a little bit to get in the groove of things, but it's a lot going on. So it's a giant show. It's a big show. The actual official 1-day practice after the official 3-day practice is kind of like a practice. It's also like a practice how you do the Classic, you know, the drive-through weigh in and blah, blah, blah. And you're meeting all kinds of, you know, heroes and celebrities. And it's just a lot going on real quick. And it's really hard to actually find a little bit of time to focus on your prep for your fishing. And that's what these Classic rookies are going through. They are experiencing, like, if they're not like prepped on their tackle end of things, or if their practice has showed them that they need to make some drastic changes, when they can do that is very late at night, because BASS schedules every minute of your time there. So it's an exciting week. It's hectic. It's fast paced.
Yep.
It goes by like that. And so the Classic rookies in this year's field, man, it's great. Suck it up, enjoy it, and just put that when they drop your boat in the water, and that whole big first day morning blast off routine, which is like crazy, you know, and you pull away from the dock, just go fishing.
Yeah.
That's
hard to do for the pressure.
It is.
For, you know, the pressure, you know, I think that's where a lot of people struggle, at least for the first couple hours in the morning. They're still tied up with all that stuff in their head, excitement and everything goes on. It takes a little bit to settle in. Well, you know, the guys who've been there many times over, they're calm, cool, and collected. They're calm, cool, and collected. They've been there. They've done that. They've seen it.
However,
I know the second time you were there, you were a little bit calmer and didn't have as much stress, because you kind of knew what to expect.
But the other thing is, I don't care how seasoned you are, on day one, when they pull you into the arena and there might be 60 to 110,000 of your best friends screaming, and they're driving you through, and you're like, okay.
That's got to be a great feeling, man. That's got to be the ultimate
Well, you
feeling.
better have a fish in that live well, or else it's a long walk up to the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got Andre, you're asking about our picks. We're going to get to that. We got a little segment in here. We're going to have our Classic picks, what each one of us, even Nick's involved with this, and we're going to have our Classic picks to win the tournament. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Dave Schottlemeyer is asking George how the Ike tournament was. Well, George lost the flip last time. If you didn't tune in, he missed the flip. So Mikey was fishing the Ike tournament. So we're going to get to some of the Ike stuff under the tournament talk here in just a few minutes. So you guys will hear how that went and how my experience was on that tournament. So we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But anyway, the Classic, you know, let's delve into that a little bit more, George. Let's get to our Classic picks. Let's see what's going on. We'll do that right now. Yeah, so classic picks, fun time to do this. We always kind of breeze through the stuff. You do your homework. I didn't get much time to do homework. George was working on it for the last 2 weeks.
That's why he's been watching live.
He had whiteboards going. He had
Well,
he had his stats going. He had all kinds of things going. So
yeah, I was running some metrics.
yeah, I'm going with some gut feeling stuff. I know that, but I don't know how you want to start this, George.
Well, we might as well start with this.
Oh,
I mean, are we going to place some money up in the house or what? I mean,
yeah, we're in.
All right,
We're in.
All right, $5 closest to the top.
$5. The closest man to the top wins the $5 between us boys. So there you have it.
Yeah.
That's all good.
I can always use an extra 15.
And you guys can chime in with your picks too, and I'll try to read them off as we go. But if you have some picks, you can chime in. Let us know who you think you're going to go with. But you want me to kick it off, George?
Well, I think it's important to set the stage a little bit.
All right, set the stage.
I mean, we're on a lake that is undeveloped, so we, there's not going to be like a dock pattern.
Yeah,
because there's no docks.
Yep.
And there's no docks because there's no houses. There might be a random dock, but the interesting thing about the lake is they picked up a good amount of rain in that part of Texas prior to the Classic boys pulling into town, and the lake is up to like 4 to 5 feet above normal. Now, a lot of times when you have lakes that are developed, the dam operators will pull that back down at a pace, whatever pace they can put into the pool below. They're not going to do that here because they don't need to. And they're coming up on their typical, Texas summer drought type period, and the lake's going to naturally drop.
Yeah.
But what's cool about it is that this lake's real flat. So, there's no like tons and tons of high banks to hold this water back. So this water's up into the trees and the bushes and the bank grass and the whatnot. So, a lot of these fish are going to go up in, and they are up in, the shad are up in there.
Yeah.
Everybody's checking out the new digs.
Yeah, I love that.
The shad are up in there.
Is it predicted to drop?
No, it's not going to drop.
It's not going to drop.
I mean, it's going to probably drop an inch, but they don't pull it. So it's going to drop over the course of the summer.
Okay.
Mother Nature's going to drop it.
Oh, okay.
So they're fishing a high water environment. And I don't know about you guys, but you might want to factor that into your classic pick.
Oh no.
Oh, so there you go.
Oh, no.
There's some intel for you guys.
Yep.
We have some guys clicking in right now. We have as I'm posting them up there as much as we can, but we have, Chris Zaldane already. We have a Clark Wendlet. We have a Matt Herron. That's a great pick too. Chris Zaldane's a Texas boy, so that's not bad. I gave him some thought, for sure.
Well, they fished a Texas Toyota Bass Classic here in, I believe it was 14, and Matt Herron won it. And Zaldane finished second.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So these guys have a little history on
a little
this.
history on there.
They got a little history.
You didn't know that, did you, Corbin?
Well, I mean, the encyclopedia.
There ain't no changing stuff now, buddy. You already have a lock in your head.
Dude, that just shows that George has been trying to take our $5 for a while. He's taking this serious, man.
He's dead serious about it, man. He's been schematics and he had 4 or 5 computers. Around. He had 4 or 5 computers lit up back there. I saw him. Man. He was in it.
I don't play around. I don't play around, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So leading up to that, I think we should start and go through these guys, and let's see who everybody picks. And I think we're going to start with newbie Nick. So Nick, I know you're on the fence.
I'm writing this down in the official Tackle Shop Live.
No,
digest.
That's great. You know what? This is a toss-up, but it's hard for me to pick against Patrick Walters right now. He's just on fire. I think he's going to be using that Garmin live scope, and he's got that dialed in. It's hard to bet against him right now.
Wow, yeah, that's not a bad one. He is smoking hot. He's
got momentum.
He's coming off of some really good finishes. I think he has a win or two. You have 2 wins.
Yeah, I mean,
he won last year. He won
over 100 pounds.
Angler of the year
on fork.
He didn't win it by a little bit.
He walked away with it.
Didn't he win Angler of the Year in the Opens or no?
That I don't know.
Okay, but I know he's doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, he's bad to the bone, man. That guy's a stick big time. So
He's on fire.
that's a really good one. Angler at large, guess what he says? Patrick Walters. He's with you, brother.
Nice.
So he's rooting for that.
Mhm.
Ben the Buck Hunter is rooting for.
We got this in the bag.
Zaldane. We got a Scott Martin, but he's not in it. James, got to pick again. Scott Martin is not in it, but that's all right. Scott Martin should be in it, and he probably will be next year.
I'd say there's a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
He came back
That's his goal. That's why Scott Martin came
Yeah.
over to Bass. He
Yep.
wants to finish up a little bit of business that the old man didn't get to.
Yep.
While he was busy winning 9 Angler of the Year titles and like 51 tournaments.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, I mean Patrick Walters. I was teeter-totting with a couple of anglers, and that was one on my list, just because they're young and they're new and they know the electronics, and they're pretty dang good with it, and that's pretty good. So let's so we got that written down, George.
It's in the book.
So Nick Wink is going with Patrick Walters for the win in the Bassmaster Classic 2021. Corbin CG Gottwalt, and the G stands for I gotta pick the winner. What do you got, brother?
Well, let me just kind of go take a step back here. This was my thought process in picking this, right? Because this is a tough one to pick. I mean, Polonix won everything except for a classic.
Yep.
Zaldane is favored, and we like Zaldane.
We like
right?
Zaldane, yep.
But at the end of the day, it's the year of the tin boat. Got Gussie winning one.
Yeah.
Got Dollar Bill Lowen winning one.
Yeah.
So I started looking high, flooded trees. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
I was hoping Brian New would get up there because he's just funny when he gets on stage, and with his broken wrist, he still might do all right. But at the end of the day, bro, I was looking at 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? John Cox,
living him.
Keith Carson, who is John Cox's best friend that used to fish together in Florida. We watched that story, George and I.
Okay.
Which could play in this tournament because of how close they are. With him flying in from Chickamauga and all that stuff, Carson had an extra day of practice. And Bill Lowen. Now, Bill Lowen seems like the obvious choice here, but at the end of the day, John Cox wins the Bassmaster Classic.
I knew that. I knew somebody was going to pick
in the
him.
high water.
Yeah.
On the general and a jig, and he runs that Crestliner tin boat all over trees, backwoods, gators, 6-pounders, whatever he needs, man. He hoists that trophy and then probably jumps in the plane and goes to his next tournament.
Yeah.
It probably starts on what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
I mean,
you probably have to be there Monday.
I mean, you really went out on a limb there. You picked the hottest player on planet Earth right now.
Hey, I mean, listen, that'd be like picking Brandon Pollock, man. But at the end of the day, bro, the reason why I picked John Cox is he's by far fishing the most professional tournament.
Well, the thing about you're exactly right. The thing about John Cox is, we all talk about on the water, being on the water a lot, and how that you get that feel for what's going on. So he could probably break down the situation very, very quickly because he's been on the water like 3 months in a row.
Well, he's fishing the Bass Pro Tour.
Yep.
He's fishing the Elite Series.
Yep.
And he's fishing
George's favorite Toyota Big 5.
No, he won a BFL. He fished a BFL and won a BFL too.
Well, no, but I'm talking about the tour, the national tour.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
he's also fishing the
MLF Big 5 or whatever.
Big 5, Way 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like all 3 of them. For example, the classic official practice, 3-day practice, he was in Chickamauga fishing the Bass Pro Tour.
Oh yeah.
So you talk about being on the water?
I know.
My man's up on the water.
He's up on the water, and that's
he's
huge,
got boats
man.
in every region of the country, and he just goes from boat to boat.
Yep. David.
So yeah, that's a good thing because he's dialed into the world.
And Carson and him are buddies, man. It'd be like, I mean, if we were coming from a tournament together, I got you, brother. I mean,
yeah.
That was an interesting story to watch too.
Yeah, we got a couple of Seth fighters clicking in here.
Exciting
fighter too. Yeah.
We got a couple of Seth fighters clicking in here. We got a couple of Canterbury going. We got a GDP. We love to have GDP there.
We'd love to have him win it.
We love to have him win it. Unfortunately, he's not fishing
next
this year.
He'll win next year.
He'll be there next year. He's all fired up on this whole thing. So
let me ask you, Mike, with your massive amount of research and development that you put.
I was all over this thing for about 20 20 minutes.
Which is really all you need, a man of your caliber.
Well, you're right. You know, I got my finger on the pulse.
So
on this
talk to
situation.
me, big fella.
Well, I'm kind of like, I like the newbies, you know, these new hot kids coming up. And, you know, Brian New is one that he is just on fire. The kid is
he's hot.
He's just hot. And he was hot recently, you know, he's catching fish. He's making great decisions. He's not giving up. And you know, he's digging hard.
Yep.
I really like Bill Owen also.
He won the first ever Elite Series event that he ever fished in.
I know.
Down in Florida.
Yeah.
The first ever open that he ever fished in.
Yeah. The kid's good.
And this is the first ever classic that he ever fished in.
And how many top 10 finishes did he have so far? He has a couple of them under his
belt. Could Lightning strike 3 times?
That'd be awesome, especially with his broken wrist or whatever. You know, Abu Garcia shipped in all left-hand retrieve reels for him. Oh. He broke his wrist or arm or something, so he's got to fish reverse-handed for the classic. Swear to God.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a little point that I didn't understand.
He broke it. He broke it like a week ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so my research wasn't that good, but
that's okay.
Yeah. So you know, I thought about Bill Owen, which was something I definitely would love to see him do well because he's an old schooler, you know, and he's a friend of SFT. So my pick is I'm going to go with the broken wrist because I think it'd be a great story. I'm going to go with Brian New for the win in the 2021 Bassmaster Classic, and you can mark it, Dewey.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So
give yourself a round of applause, man.
Yeah. That's what I'm going with.
I like it.
That's what I'm going with.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of great picks on here. I mean, Fighter's good. Canterbury's good. You know, we got, he broke it in the parking lot.
How'd he do that?
In a parking lot during practice.
That's what he said. Yeah.
So he slipped out of his boat and fell onto the ground, or he tripped over a rock. Did something. It's dark and slippery at night when you're launching your boat and it's dark.
I'm going to say
he slipped on the ramp.
Water moccasin.
There's one good thing. It can only go up from there for him.
Yeah.
So.
Wouldn't that be cool though? How to go to a left-handed reel. And but I think he's good enough that he can fish them both ways. So I'm going to go with him. Oh, they said he slipped. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to slip on out there.
Yeah, it is. That's rough. You know what? I'll tell you what you got to be careful about. Launching your freaking boat.
Oh, he was running across the lot.
What?
He was so excited. He was running across the lot.
Crawling in and out of your boat and stepping on the trailer tongue if it's wet in the morning.
He was so worked up with the media that
man, you can get busted up quick.
He was so worked up over the media that he was running across the lot like all psyched up, and he slipped and fell. Broke his wrist.
He was in a hurry.
Then he went on and win the Bassmaster Classic. That's a great story.
It's a great story.
I'm going with it. All right, George, hit us with your
I got it.
Massive amount of knowledge that you acquired over the last 2 weeks of.
Well, not only am I going to
handicapping the Bassmaster Classic.
Not only am I going to tell you who will win the Classic, I'm going to tell you his final weight, and I'm going to tell you the bait that he wins it on.
All right.
Right down to the final detail of the bait.
Okay.
So, first of all, Steve Kennedy will win the Bassmasters Classic.
Steve Kennedy. He's a good one.
I mean, he's really bumped his game up.
He really has.
He got a new boat. He has a graph on it.
Did he get a new jersey yet?
Yeah, says Bass Cat on it now. Yep. Now he didn't get any new rods or reels because he didn't need them.
He's still running the old Corrados.
He's got the old greenies.
The old greeny Corrados. He loves them.
But this lake is set up for Mr. Kennedy because he's going to win this tournament on a 5/8 ounce and a 3/4 ounce D&L flipping jig. And that's got that big old 5/0 gaff of a hook in it. He's going to trim that out with a Zoom big salty chunk. And he is going to
love that old school stuff right there.
He's going to pitch, flip, skip, and dip his way to a classic championship. And all you're going to see on live is just him like banging into every tree that he's flipping, getting right on top of them fish, and just knowing that at the end of his day, he's going to have the 5 right ones in the box.
Man, it's hard. It's hard to go against you on that because
he's a master.
He is
He is a master of his craft.
He is definitely one of the best thinkers.
He's also going to, I'll even take it to the next level. He's going to use the lightest line he's going to use this week is 25 pound. And most of the time he's going to be using 30.
Jeez.
And I will mark my words.
How do you run that 30-pound test, man?
He is his 30-pound test, bro, when he's flipping in the cover.
Wow.
Mark
Kenny
my
Brower
words.
style.
When you hear his breakdown, it's going to be, I was fishing a 5/8 ounce jig on 25 fluoro, and I was fishing the 3/4 ounce on 30 pound.
Golly.
Because he ain't playing no games.
Man.
So,
Wow.
Steve Kennedy, your 2021 Bassmasters Classic champion. You heard it here first. I would go right to FanDuel and put some coin down.
All right, George.
Is that possible?
Are
they betting on there?
They are.
Are they really?
Well, actually,
I got to get on there and bet at least a couple bucks on
No,
there.
it's on Fox Sports.
Oh, Fox Sports.
Fox Sports Bet.
Geez.
Oh.
They have a classic
Sportsbook.
Yeah, you can put money in.
Oh, my God. That'd be
Hey,
fun.
George, did we got the weight?
Oh, yeah. We got the weight, baby. And it's going to be a little lower than you think because these fish are scattered. He's going to average about 16 pounds a day. So that's 40. He's going to have 48.8.
48.8.
John Cox is going to have that after the second day.
48.8. It's in
big
the
bags.
book. Mark it, Dewey.
So,
Wow.
So George, Mike, let's talk about Bassmaster Classic fashion. What do you think Autumn's going to wear this year?
Oh, man.
Well, he's going to have that ugly stick jersey on and
Yep.
an Autumn hat.
No, didn't he have a...
Didn't he wear the cape the one year?
No, he had
it was a fur coat.
He had a
Yeah.
fur coat, a
Yeah.
big giant fur coat on. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he tamed down at all. He's going to have something. Like I think maybe you're right. I think he might go with a cape.
Yeah.
Maybe like a bull hide or something.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you want to
chaps.
You want to break it down?
Yes.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he rolls out in the old one-piece jumpsuit with all the patches sewn.
Ah,
That would
man.
be sick.
That would I would
either
love to
see-
have one of those.
There's two people that could do that and pull it off in this event.
Fighter.
And on them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That would be
Yeah.
great, man. Seeing
Yeah.
those guys in a onesie.
yeah.
When you saw Fighter picked himself, even though you weren't supposed to, he picked himself.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
It's called a jumpsuit, Mike.
Yeah.
Whatever. Onesie, jumpsuit.
Oh, yeah. Same.
I'd
thing.
wear it.
That's
I'd
how
wear
it-
it, man.
that's
I'd
how
love
they
to wear
rolled
that.
back in the day, man. That's
I
how
know
they rolled
you.
back
I
in
know the
day.
first classic you were in. You wore a vest.
I still have them
I know,
both.
I know. You wore a vest.
Patches all sewn
Yeah.
on there from all my
Yeah.
sponsors.
That was old school stuff.
George,
You know,
Everybody wore a vest with all their sponsors on it.
Yeah.
do you still have your baseball cards here from your classic? We could show that to the audience.
I got them.
Yeah.
I got
Should
'em.
we get one of them out?
I got them. They're in the vault.
Oh, man.
They're in the vault.
They're in the vault.
in the vault.
Yeah,
Well,
I got them.
There you have it, guys. There's the classic picks from the team here at Tackle Shop Live, and you guys can follow along. And then next Thursday we will go over our results. We'll have the payout.
Yeah.
The big payout.
Blast off is tomorrow morning at probably about 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
So if I was you, I'd be doing what I'm doing.
yeah. Keep them coming, guys.
I'm
Keep
gonna be streaming me some classic.
yeah.
Fox FS1 is they added another hour of coverage. They're going to be broadcasting for 5 hours on Saturday and Sunday. So, yeah,
Look at old Oz, man.
Oz, you better watch yourself.
Oz is pulling for Kennedy also.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we think alike, me and Oz.
yeah, that's good stuff.
Okay.
Well,
So while we're on the tournament talk, why don't we jump on over to a couple other events?
yeah. So the next thing I think we should talk about is the big giant win. The giant win for the GOAT. KVD
Yeah.
winning the tournament and $100,000. And the best thing about that, it was on the crankbait, which is so fitting. And it was great to see that. I'm glad. I know everybody is happy to see KVD back in the limelight. And it was an awesome. That was the championship in the
Bass Pro Tour.
Bass Pro Tour.
Chickamauga.
Chickamauga. And
on the ledges.
man, those guys caught him. It was unbelievable watching that. And they had some flurries that were just spectacular.
They whacked him,
just
man.
spectacular.
He held off Wheeler, bro.
Yeah.
They whacked
I
him.
mean,
Oh yeah. Well, who was that other kid that was like running at him? That
Jason Lambert.
Lambert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, he was making some runs, and it was like he was like falling back. Then he got on that hot kick, and he put like 4 big fish in the boat, and he was coming on strong, and then his bite died out a little bit. But what a great tournament. Congratulations to KVD on that win. And let's break that tournament down a little bit, George.
I took some notes. I watched it pretty closely. And it kind of went the way everybody thought it was going to go. Traditional summertime TVA ledge fishing beatdown. I know Corbin and I were kind of conversing over it during the course of the week.
yeah.
And there was a little bit of a shallow bite, but that kind of went away. I mean, Stephen Browning hung in there, had a good showing on the championship day, throwing his chatter wagon up in the river.
Gagliardi was fishing shallow in the back of that river.
Yeah. The shallow guys, they stuck by their guns. It just didn't work out as well as those ledges. What was happening on those ledges is what they were saying is those fish were just starting to get there, and they were ready to eat. So KVD, he did what KVD does. He took his signature, GC4 series cranking rod. He put a BB1 Pro on that bad boy, which gives him that wide spool, so he can launch that crankbait.
He was bombing that thing, man. This cast,
Yeah.
jeez, he
wasn't
fired that
playing
thing
around.
out there.
I mean, he was.
Did you see how
power.
fast he was cranking those baits?
Yeah.
5 and 6 XD. I mean, you know how much it takes out of you to do that.
What he was throwing,
He had to put a bigger handle on
he
it.
was throwing a. Well, that BB1 Pro series has a pretty good size handle
does it?
on it.
Yeah.
It's like 100 millimeter, anyways.
Yeah, because that's the only way you can do it, man. For all those hours.
And his 12-pound test XPS fluorocarbon that he likes to use, and also a Series 5 crankbait in the green gizzard.
Yep.
And a 5XD in the blue gizzard. And as he said on Championship Sunday, he's like, there's a lot of people throwing a lot of baits out here. But he said, I'm just going to tell you how it is. These are the ultimate ledge cranking baits.
Yeah.
We made them to do this, and this is what they do. And if you look at their system, depending on your depth, I mean,
Yeah.
Series 5, 5XD, 6XD, 8XD, 10XD.
They got you covered.
That's what they're made for.
Got you
Yeah,
covered
that's
from
what they're made
15
for.
to
So-
30 feet. I mean,
And
25 feet.
Period 3, when he came out and he saw that current and he got his right angle on his spot, it was every freaking cast for 30 minutes. So
He goes, oh, they're gonna eat now.
yeah,
32,000. He goes, this is what I needed.
yeah.
He looks at his marshal, goes, we ain't going anywhere. He goes, these fish are gonna fire. Boom. And then he catches that 6.5, and he's like, you see that? That's why you use those KVD Mustad triple grip trebles, man. We got one hook in that thing.
Number 2s.
Yep.
Yep. He upsizes all of his
That's
hooks.
part of his system.
Yep.
Those hooks are part of his system.
Well, he designed the KVD triple grips, and he designed them with a short shank.
Yeah, it's 1X short,
Yep.
1X strong.
And that allows him to oversize his hooks without
Right.
him hooking up all the
Right.
time. So you had to go with a shorter shank. So for all you guys who think you can't run big giant hooks because they're always hooking up, you can go with that KVD short shank, and you can upsize without having all the fouling problems that you get if you run regular hooks. So check them out. It's a super sharp hook too.
Yeah, it's a little heavier wire. It's a 1X strong wire. It's
Yeah.
a great hook. It's
Yeah.
got that wide gap bend to it.
Yep.
Mike, I see another legend just jumped on the screen here. Brent Nelson.
Oh yeah.
Long time guide for Life Outdoors Unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like a long time.
Oh yeah.
There's somebody that knows Deep Creek Lake. Like if they drain the water, he would already know where everything is.
Oh, he could walk it blindfold.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
glad to see you on here, Brent.
Yeah, Brent. Thanks for stopping by,
good,
brother.
It's good to see you, buddy. So second place in that tournament. I mean, the hottest angler in the country for 2 years, Wheeler.
Jacob
Yeah.
Wheeler.
I mean, and you know what? It's a good thing it ended when it ended.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because
I
he
agree.
was in overdrive,
He was
man.
coming.
Was coming.
He was coming.
And, you know, he didn't
Bringing
exactly have the start he wanted anymore. He was one of the last anglers to get on the score tracker, but he just knew how it was going to go down.
That freaking guy's unreal, man.
They interviewed him at the beginning of the third period. And they're like, you know, obviously, Jacob, you live on here and blah, 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 blah. They're like, did you save anything for the last period? Jacob's like, yeah, you know, I got here. He goes, I got some stuff. He goes, we're going to go see what happens. He goes, whoever gets the floor, he's going to win. He's like, but I still got some stuff. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And it was pretty wild, man.
And he was doing everything. He was throwing a hair jig, which a lot of them were. He was
10-inch
cranking.
worm.
He was throwing a big worm.
Yep.
So yeah, you know, classic Wheeler with his electronics, you know, dialed in to the max,
Yeah.
360 and
Bad to the bone.
optics, calling his shots. Third place, Jason Lambert.
Yeah, he was coming strong too, man.
Yeah, he went for it too. If you noticed when he saw on the score tracker how far behind he was, he picked up that big flutter spoon. It looked like a Nichols to me.
Yeah.
Like a Ben Parker mag or standard size.
I wonder if there's many people throwing that.
I don't know. I mean,
Saw a couple guys throw it.
I wonder if that's going to, I mean, we'll talk about that then, but I wonder if that's going to be a little controversial, man. I mean, I know he was catching them on the spoon, but some of those fish were like snagged in the belly.
Well, that happens when you're jerking a spoon though, because there's so many fish down there and they're chasing after that thing. And if they so they got hooks on the top and they got hooks on the bottom. And what they use is they use a treble on the bottom, but on the top, they use them dancing stingers.
Right.
And, you know, if he swipes at it, them freaking spoons are
We
9
showed
inches
him here.
long.
We showed him here on our last show.
Yeah.
We showed him on our last show, and it's huge.
And he was fishing that thing. He had about he had a 7-11 heavy rod, and he was ripping that spoon.
Yeah.
And he was coming on strong with some big fish.
Yep.
But if I may, the most interesting person in that field was Shin Fukai.
Love that guy.
God.
Love that guy.
I mean, it was so interesting to watch him just do his finesse thing.
On 20-pound fluorocarbon on a medium heavy Zodius. He said he was throwing a Japanese version of a dog turd. That's what he told the guy on camera yesterday. I swear to God. I'm like, what is that? But he actually wanted to say another word. He's like, they call it dog turd in Japan. I'm like, what the heck is that?
Well, what he threw the first 2 days.
I don't know.
The first 2 days, he caught 37 fish for 114 pounds, which is a little over a 3-pound average. Not too shabby.
No.
You know, he caught those fish on a Ned rig and a smaller boot foot soft plastic swim bait on a spinning rod. He was using a Zodius. He was also using a 7-foot medium heavy X Pride.
2 awesome rods.
And then he did that crazy rig that Corbin was talking about, which will come out. We have no intel on it.
No.
We sent a team out to figure it out, and we couldn't get through security at the Fukai residence.
Yeah.
I mean, but he like sat
He's got
there.
that buried up.
I mean, I don't even know. He was just like swimming it around over a shale bed, or I'm like, what in the world?
What's he doing?
And
But he finished in 6th.
Yeah.
Still good though.
Excellent.
That's
Excellent.
he had some heavy weight too.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he did really well
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
a spinning rod.
Thomas Boyd's checking in. How you doing, Thomas? Matt Elliott, he's heavy metal. Yep. Donnie Matunis. What's up, Donnie Matunis? How are you doing, buddy? Got a fly here. It's going to die.
We're going to take this bad boy out.
Yeah, absolutely. So Troy Wink, what's happening? The senior Wink is on watching us here. So you better be on your A game over there, cameraman. Have your A game going on.
Keep your focus sharp.
Yeah, so that was a great tournament. It was a great win for KVD. You know, hats off to him. You know, he still got it, man. You know, we were always like, this ain't his format. You know, he needs to go back to bass and do the 5-fish thing. Well, this thing, you know, comes around and he starts whacking them like that, and he catches them. The guy catches them, no doubt about it. And he just proved it again.
Mike,
He's not too old yet.
You know what I'm excited for? Round 3.
Yeah.
Round 3 between Wheeler and KVD on Chickamauga. Because last time Wheeler got him.
Yeah.
This time KVD got him.
He finished second to Wheeler last year, and Wheeler finished second to him this year.
Yeah.
In
Ain't
two
that
different
something?
formats. Yeah.
That's great. That is great.
Yeah. Pretty
So
good.
Jason
good.
Shea stopping in the house. How you doing, Jason?
What up, Shay?
We got we were supposed to have Jason on last week. Jason, we're going to hook up with you for a show very soon here. Hopefully next week, if you can free up your schedule. I'd like to have you on there, brother. But yeah, so that was that tournament. And and you have some other stuff there, George, on the BFL All-American.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, the BFL All-American was last week. I think it started right after our show would have aired last week. It started Friday a week ago. So, the BFL All-American is a big deal. You can be in any fishing circle, bass fishing circle that there is, and if you're a BFL All-American winner, that means something.
Yeah,
that's $100,000.
It's a catapult for a lot of people's careers.
It is, and it's a big time deal.
Yeah, it is.
So
it's a big event.
The 21 version was on Douglas Lake.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, and it was
we fished it.
Oh, of course we did.
Yeah.
We're like Johnny Cash. We've been everywhere, man. So it was shaping up to be an offshore, school type, ledge type offshore event, similar to they fish a lot of brush piles in that lake. But it was shaping up to be one of those deals like Chickamauga, and sure enough, Brant Grimm, kind of a local stick, went up the river and fished offshore with a 6XD.
Ah, man, that thing.
I mean, he threw a 6XD for
catches fish
3 days and won the All-American. And the cool thing about it is, when they interviewed him afterwards, they said, a lot of BFL guys, this is their springboard to move on. And he goes, nah. He said, I'm pretty content fishing around the house. Plenty of tournaments to fish here, and I don't want to find out if I'm good enough to fish with those guys. And I like staying close to the house. So that was refreshing.
Yeah.
100,000 in the pocket. Doesn't hurt his feelings. First place co-angler, $50K. The other interesting thing is the top 7 pros and the top 7 co's from, in other words, one from each division that make up the All-American, qualify for and this is a big deal, the Toyota Series Championship.
Wow.
Now, what you don't know about the Toyota Series Championship, if you're not like really following it close, this might be the 3rd year for it, where they upped the payout to $250,000.
Gosh.
For a no entry fee tournament.
George, isn't this the one you already picked Keith Combs to win because he qualified for it? I'm pretty sure this is the one that you picked. Yeah.
Yeah, but you gave my pick away. We were going to have a whole segment on
I mean, I was a couple weeks ago.
You can't use that now.
I already got mine. John Cox or Wheeler, man.
Yeah, Keith Combs is going to win the Toyota Championship this fall, just by the way. But $250,000 for a no entry tournament, and there's several ways to get into it, but one way is to finish the number 1 pro or co in your division of the BFL, which I don't think is called the BFL anymore, but I'm going to call it the BFL. Matter of fact, when I started fishing them, they were called Redmans. It was BFL for 20 years before I stopped calling it Redman.
It's called the Phoenix Bass League now.
Phoenix.
PBL, baby. Not to be confused with PBR, baby. We got the PBL, the MLF, the Big 5, the what else does Boyd have? The BPT. We got all kind of acronyms up in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
So,
another interesting fact about that tournament, and there was a lady fishing that tournament.
Yeah, Melinda.
But yeah, Melinda Mize was fishing it, and she was leading the co-angler side on day 2.
Yeah,
leading the tournament.
Well, Melinda's a great friend of SFT.
Yeah,
and she's quite the stick. She won a boat. To fish in the old women's professional bass league.
Yeah,
and her mom.
Yeah, she's a hammer.
Yeah.
She catches them good because she won a She won a BFL championship tournament, regional championship tournament, and won a boat.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she was awesome.
She is a fantastic fisher.
I was
woman.
rooting for her the whole time, man. When I saw her in first place after day 2, man, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, here she comes.
Yep.
She's going to put the smackdown on them.
Yep.
Well, she's a great friend of the shops here.
Yeah.
She's been out here for some events, and
we've known her for many years. And congratulations to her. She still had a great finish.
We're going to keep pulling for her in her tournaments.
Yeah. Let's keep clicking along here.
Yeah. So that's kind of all I have for you on the tournaments. That Corbin and I were talking about this a lot over the last week or so.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about it a lot.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Kind of some stuff we wanted to cover. It burned up some clock.
Yeah.
But it had to be done. This is Classic Week, people.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to talk about it. And what did we learn out of this?
That John Cox is going to win.
Go buy number 5s, 5XDs and 6XDs, and you'll catch fish.
Yeah, buy lots of them.
From here on out through the summer, buy them, crank them hard, fast as you can turn them, burn them, chuck them a mile, and you'll catch fish on them. So I think that's what we learned from it this week. And
Strike King crankbaits rock.
Strike King crankbaits absolutely rock. But the last thing we want to take a note, I did fish the Ike tournament this past weekend. Me and Greg DePalma partnered up. We fished they had a great event. They had 126 boats. It was great fishing. Me and Greg, we caught a ton of fish. We were hammering them all day long. We could not believe we couldn't catch a 5-pounder. I might have had one hooked that I lost. I'm not sure, but it was a great time on the water with Greg. We weighed in 1548 on their scales, 17 something on our scales, but that's another story. But it was the same for everybody, so it wasn't end of the world. But it was kind of disappointing that you didn't see the real weights. But it was down a little bit. It wasn't a lot of real big fish. I think a 5.75 won it, but there wasn't a whole lot of 5-pounders caught as normally down there. Our deal was for the best fish where it was a chatterbait, and I know a lot of guys haven't been throwing chatterbaits down there and doing well on them, but that's what we found out about. We started out in the Northeast River, slow rolling. I was slow rolling a chatterbait with a silver blade and a white, kind of all whited out. The water wasn't real super dirty; it was kind of stained. But that slow rolling that thing was the key up there. I caught a 4-pounder and a 3-something, 310 and 311, whatever it was. And I kind of kicked the day off right away. And then the tide, this is weird about this place, George. You know about this.
I do.
The tide was capped out, and the bite kind of slowed a little bit, but then it started to turn and go out. And when it turned and went out, the water got muddy as hell. Like it was going in reverse. And George knows about this because it's like a swirling effect or something that the tide, the bay has, and it sucks water differently than you would think.
Maybe it sucks all the sewage out of the Northeast River or something.
The Northeast River wasn't the Northeast River wasn't that dirty. We went up in the Northeast River.
If you pay attention in a lot of bodies of water, but since we're talking about the Chesapeake Bay, you can be in an area where the tide is going out, at its peak, what we call the rip.
Yeah.
And you can be, along the shore and the water's going this way.
Yeah.
And going down. You can go up the shore a little farther and the water's going this way and going out.
Yeah.
And it has to do with whatever type of a channel is near that area.
Yeah.
So that, that deeper cut is going to have the flow obviously going out. Now, you can be over here and that cut's over here and that water's going that way because there's another cut there.
Right.
So when it pulls out of a river that was dirty, that dirty water, when it came in, got pushed into places. And then when that went out, it got pulled back out of those places. That's and then when it came back in again, it would have cleared up and pushed it back out of those places.
That's exactly what happened because
but it's moving down the system a little more each time. So, it starts here and does its thing. Then it goes down here and does its thing. And it's when you're fishing local a lot, it's good to know those little things.
Yeah. So that was really interesting, and it just really killed our bite right away. You know, it shut things down, and we were like, well, let's let
Time to move.
Let's let the tide work it out, and we'll come back. Is what we thought. We went out to the flats, and Greg DePalma, man, he just knows those flats unbelievable, and he had these spots, and we would go in there, we all by ourselves, like there'd be nobody within literally 3/4 of a mile from where we were, and we'd start fishing, and we whacked them. I mean, hammered them. 3-pounder, 211, 2.6, 3.2, 3.7, 3.8, and then we ended up calling up and had a decent bag, and we knew we needed one big one to get it, like everybody did. But so that was the deal, and we ran back up in the river, and we fished them again, fished all that stuff again, and it was still muddy. And we ran to some creeks. We fished some creeks, and they were muddy. But and we were flipping trees, and in some isolated trees where you usually catch a big one, they were all like, boom, he set the hook. This is the one. Oh, it's 3 pounds, 1 ounce, 3 pounds, 2 ounce, 211. It was so, but for me, it was a great time of fishing. We swung on a lot of fish, so I caught a lot of fish. I got my fingers all chewed up, which I love, and it was a great time. Congratulations to
Mark
Schaefer from New Jersey. I'm looking at Mark Snyder here because Mark Snyder and the bird was Bridie. Second. They got second place. So Mark was there. Mark was in here telling us that they whacked him good too, but they got big bites. They got 2 big bites that really started their day, started their limit off, but it was later in the day. So they were out of it until they caught them too. And then they were right in it, and they got their second place. But Mark Schaefer, man, old school, long time.
Oh yeah.
Long time New Jersey Bass Federation, and just fished everything. The man fishes everything. George knows him pretty well from fishing all the different tournaments and stuff.
He's
made the championships many times.
He's a legend. I mean, he's been fishing competitively for over 40 years.
Yeah.
In the Northeast. You name it, he's been there, done that.
And he won it.
He's won it.
He's won just about everything. I think that what he wants to win is he wants to get into Bassmaster Classic. He's 60 years old, and he's fishing hard, and it just shows that he's just still hammering along and just whacking them.
He's a true legend, and our hats is off to.
Yep.
And he won it with his daughter.
And which is really cool.
And they won the boat.
They won the boat. It was funny.
Awesome.
He was on Ike Live on Monday, and he said his daughter was there, and a guy walked up to her and said, "Hey, I'll give you 10 grand for it right now." And she was like, and Mark jumps in and goes, "No, we ain't selling it for 10 grand. Give us let us get this thing figured out, and we'll discuss things.
Then we'll talk.
But 10 grand isn't going to buy that boat,
especially in this day and age when you can't even find a boat.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
I'm thinking Mark's going to have that boat for sale, and it's going to be a good deal, but it ain't going to be no 10 grand.
No, absolutely.
Mark runs a skeeter. Mark runs a skeeter, so maybe he'll keep this as his backup.
Yeah, so
backup small water boat or something. Who knows? Congratulations
to him and Mark Snyder right here. Mark Snyder. He said he caught him on a tube, a 3.5-inch tube. Is that right? Is that for real, Mark? Let me put this up here for you. Is that for real?
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Why not? 3.5 tube. That's awesome.
Why not?
So congratulations to you, Mark. And way to go on that.
Yes. Mark said
yes. He said yeah. So there it is on a tube, 3.5 tube, just something different. That's sometimes all it takes.
Yeah.
Something different.
We fished the tube. We fished the tube a lot during the spawn.
Yeah.
But
down on the flats, I mean, you just don't hear guys doing that.
Well, I mean, during the spawn, you do.
I don't know. Not a lot of guys.
That green pumpkin with the blue tail, the blue crawl, is deadly. We talked about it on live here. Yep. As a matter of fact, a lot of your old school pros, when they're sight fishing, they're fishing a tube. Alton Jones Sr. won that Bass Pro Tour event on the 3 lakes down in the Carolinas this spring.
Yeah.
He fished one bait the whole entire time. He fished a 3.5-inch tube on a Texas rig.
Well, I'll tell you, for us, for us, it was a different thing, with a chatterbait. And what we figured out right away, especially on the flats themselves, that you had to cast as far as you possibly could.
Right.
And I think I honestly feel like that's the only reason we caught the bigger fish that we caught and kind of called up a little bit, is because we were bombing that thing out there, as far as we could get it. And what was really cool about that is we only really lost one fish, and everything else we got in, which I couldn't believe. And I think so for us, and for a lot of guys down there who were casting a chatterbait closer and not getting the bites, you really had to bomb that thing, man. And I felt like when we were doubling up, me and Greg were doubling up out there, and we were both casting like miles out there, and it took forever to get the fish in, and we were just sweating it out on every fish trying to get him in the boat. Plus I forgot the net. So we were old school boat flipping.
Oh God.
I loved it.
Don't need
I
no
loved it.
stinking net.
We don't need no stinking net. We boat flipped every single fish except for that very first fish of the day, because we just didn't know what the hell to do because we didn't have a net. And Greg says, just bring it over here. And he just snatched it up like some kind of anaconda.
Like some kind of elite pro or something.
Yeah, like some kind of elite pro.
Yeah.
He snatched that thing up, no problem.
No problem.
That was the deal, man. It was bombing that thing. And I think that's why we did good on a chatterbait.
Speaking of the net, and I always wanted to say this, in a lot of the tournaments that I fish, I fished a ton of draw tournaments, BFLs and federation stuff. The net is a major freaking problem because it sets up all kinds of pressures and if you don't talk about net use with your tournament partner, draw partner now, team tournament partners, they got the net all worked out, but a draw tournament, if I draw somebody as my co-angler and we don't discuss the net up front, you're looking for problems.
Yeah.
Be honest with me. Are you comfortable with the net?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what?
If you're not comfortable with the net,
fish off or what?
No, I'm talking serious here now.
Oh yeah.
If you're not comfortable with the net, then
Wait.
Serious. That's something to talk about, right? So
that is
it really is. It leads you. How many stories go about the net?
I know.
Well, George, with all your tournament experience, have you had any bad experiences with people stabbing at them or?
Well, I have, but my thing on it was if
you call for the net,
I have that conversation early, and usually it goes like this: are you comfortable with the net? And if you're not, it's no big deal. And
some guys don't want the responsibility.
You don't even need to come get the net unless I holler for the net, and I won't get the net unless you holler for the net. So let's get our ground rules set up so we're not out there on that first fish looking like net. Net.
Yeah.
And if to be honest with you, I netted most of my own fish.
Oh, but you knit.
Well, the reason why I ask you this is because now fishing the BFLs and talking to some of these co's and even boaters, they don't feel comfortable netting each other's fish.
That's what I just got done saying.
And when I had my co's, I told them, I said, look, just put the net in the water. I'll bring the fish to the net.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any bad experiences yet.
Yeah. Oh, you will.
Well, I have another.
Keep fishing.
Yeah.
I have a part 2 on this net thing, and it has nothing to do with whether your partner's comfortable or competent with the net or whatever. It has to do with the net itself. I feel as though a lot of fish are lost because the net becomes involved. If you're fighting a fish to the boat and it's under 4 pounds, and you have this fish well hooked and you're well in control of it, I feel as though you should boat flip that fish. Or grab that fish and not even mess with the net. I've seen so much stuff go wrong where the net's involved, and it sets up for the rest of the day being a freaking mess.
Well, as Kevin Carpenter is pointing out right now, I did only have one job. I literally showed up to the tournament because I just been so crazy here and I haven't had a chance to get my gear together. I literally showed up to the tournament with a white SFT bag. We call it the Texas Tackle Box.
My game.
and that was it. And I said to Greg, I'm ready to go fishing. You know, I have this white bag. And he says, where's the net? And I'm like, oh, son of a bugger. And he says, you had one thing to remember was the net. And he said, don't worry, we'll boat flip and we'll boat flip 5-6 pounders. And I'm like, yeah, that's what
and we have a good net.
We have a real good net.
You know, we use that Fraybill telescopic, and then you can telescope it out again.
Oh yeah.
And it's got the tangle-free netting and the conservation basket on it.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic Lake Erie and big water smallmouth net because it's spends well out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's
awesome.
It's
look what I got for you.
That's what are we going to use, the pier net?
I don't know, man, but it might work.
Might work. That's what we needed.
Chuck it out, roll it in, man. It's all ready to roll.
That is not the net.
No, that's not the net, but that might work though, especially that one I lost on the end of the cast. I could have tossed that thing way out there and caught it maybe. I don't know. But
I just thought with the net conversation, there's a couple things about the net that are
that's important, George.
And
that's really important.
It's like, it's like when you are in a draw tournament and there's a couple things, this is a sidebar, but there's a couple things that I want to recommend to all the tournament kind of newbies out there who are fishing club tournaments, federation tournaments, perhaps a BFL. BFL, not so much because you have absolutely no control over everything. But if you're in a club and you guys are sharing, like you have some areas that you like to go fish and whatnot, that should all be talked out before the boat leaves the dock. Now, most tournaments are pro-co, and the co has no decision-making power, and that's fine. I really like that program, not because of being in control, but because I am not competing against you. You are not competing against me.
Mm-hmm.
If we work together, you will have your best opportunity and I will have my best opportunity. Okay. So in a club atmosphere, a lot of clubs are still, boater rider, but the rider can maybe voice his opinion on where to go. So, my theory on this, to have, again, a nice smooth day and to get everybody on the same page, my deal's like, if we're sitting in the boat before blast off and I say to you, for example, hey, do you have a game plan? Do you have some plans? Do you have some, what would you like to do today? And, and if you have that, and you don't speak up and you say, hey, you know what? I'm good with whatever. Then let's just say at 11:30, there's no fish in the boat. That's not the time to start speaking up unless you have something that you're picking up on from the day. It's not like, well, last year we fished that dock over there. That's what we talked about in the morning so that we can all be on the same page and we can both benefit from it. So, it's like talk things out and with your draw partner, especially that freaking net. I'm telling you, dude. Where'd everybody go?
Everybody's here.
Oh, you're just flicking and clicking.
Yeah. So, so it was great. I graduated my daughter on Friday night. And I had family in the house, so I was, up until 12:30, and I had to drive down. I usually drive down the night before and sleep over down there, and then you're right there, you're ready to go. You get an extra hour of sleep. But so I got up at 1:30, and then I got up at 2:00. Then I got up at 2:30. I was so excited because I haven't fished in a while. I've been working, and my wife's been
working,
planning stuff like crazy. Yeah. So it's been a lot going on, but I have been fishing, but this was like, I haven't tournament fished for like the whole, like all last year. And this was like the first time in a long time I fished a tournament. So I was just jacked up. If you ever lose that, then I know I'm done. I know I'm done.
It's time
Yeah.
to hang it up.
I was,
Yeah.
I mean, I was
exactly.
up every half an hour, and then I finally at 3:00. I was going to get up at 3:30, and at 3:00, I'm like, "Yeah, screw it. I'm getting up." And I got up, man. I made some coffee, and which I never do in the morning. You know, I usually buy coffee on the way there, and I was just jacked up and jumped in the truck and rolled down the road, and so it was a great day, and I appreciate it. And I was good seeing everybody there, and cheering on and everybody. So it was great to see everybody. And we
Talk
had
about jacked
we
up.
had a side bet with Ryan Bauman and Joe Thompson.
Yeah.
And
You won that one.
oh yeah, we whooped up on them. So they want a double or nothing bet. So we got to roll it forward. I'll take it.
Well, Mike, why don't we change up the pace here a little bit? I'm the product guy here at the shop, and it's just, I'm just kind of itching and twitching to talk about a couple things on the product front, and maybe you could kind of like transfer us over in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. We're gonna talk about some tackle on Tackle Shop Live. Boy, do we like talking about tackle, because that's what we do here at Susquehanna Fish and Tackle. We talk tackle to the T.
It's fun.
We love it. We love it every day, 6 days a week. Love it, love it, love it. Love breaking it down to you guys.
Yeah, we're going to break a couple things down here.
And the one thing I'm really excited
Not going to
about,
get too crazy.
Yeah, one thing I'm excited about, and we got them in here last week and put them up on the website, and that's the new Shimano redesigned Accents. What a sweet reel, and George's got them here, and he's going to break them down a little bit for us and tell us a little bit what it's about.
Normally, we're not really hardcore promoting $500 fishing reels, but in this case, we are hardcore promoting it. So this is the A version of the Accents. It's the new updated version. The Accents is a specialty spinning reel. It's made to fish, braid and or fluorocarbon. It's got a very shallow spool. As you can see that cut right there. Very shallow spool, which gives you a large diameter core.
Which is great for, you don't have to put so much backing on stuff.
Not only that, but your fluoro is wrapped in a larger diameter wrap, which fluorocarbon likes.
Yeah.
Plus the reel is extremely light because it is a one-piece magnesium body. So you don't have the weight.
Yeah, I wish you guys could weight vision on the TV here, because it is so spectacularly light.
Now,
unbelievable light.
For those of you who are tidal water fishermen or even light tackle inshore fishermen, and you hear the word magnesium and you think salt, magnesium,
right away. No way.
This reel is specifically made for that. It is coated up, anodized. It actually has a coating on the reel known as X-Protect, which they use on a lot of their reels, that actually repels water.
Love that. That's so cool.
Underneath the rotor here, this is the rotor right here. Underneath the rotor, if you took this off on top of the body, there's a couple of they look like little walls that go around the spool shaft. So it's really hard to get water to the spool shaft, and then the spool shaft has a very friction-free seal on it. So
the water would have to come up.
It would have to go underneath there.
Have to go underneath there, and then it would have to come up around this walls that Georgia talked about to go down inside, which is impossible.
It's not impossible, but it's greatly diminished. No,
impossible unless it's submerged.
They're not going to say it's sealed because it's illegal to say that, but it's pretty freaking watertight.
That does have,
and if you do get some water in it, all of your bearings are shielded anti-rust bearings, which will not rust.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this
is the 3000 size, and I think this is really important for people who are considering this reel. This is the 4000 size, so you can kind of get a size comparison here. Might even be able to do it like this. put this one in my right hand. This is a good size comparison. And actually, the diameters of the spools are important. On a bigger spinning rod, like a 7-foot or a 7-foot 2 or 3 spinning rod, I know it's not a normal usage in a lot of bass fishermen's worlds, but I would recommend that you look at the 4,000 because of the spool diameter.
Yeah, because a lot of times you might go to a little bit heavier line.
You could fish a 10-pound fluoro on that.
You go to a little bit heavier line, and it handles that fluorocarbon better to where you don't get as much memory. And
exactly.
At least you can go to that bigger line without.
You have a sealed waterproof drag. You have micro module drive gear, the micro module gear system, which is like standard on their high end reels. So the Accents model Accents, the new model Accents has finally landed.
Yeah,
they are in stock here at sfttackle.com and in the shop at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle.
Yep, absolutely.
And I know it's $539 and $549 reel, and I'm not trying to like ram it down your throat, but it's what we're talking about this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive reel, but it's not really. If you look at it, you're getting a lot for the dollar, and it's going to be a lifetime reel, and
yeah. Well, the micro module gearing,
it's a pleasure to fish with.
Yeah,
absolute pleasure. Can you imagine putting that on one of them new NRX rods, man? Those
NRX Plus,
those plus rods with that new graphite technology that they're messing with, man. They're super light. You'd have to tie it down to your boat because it'd float away. It's so light. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then let me just grab these 2 shirts here real quick.
Yeah, Andre, anything Berkeley? I don't know. Berkeley for me and George right now is an absolute disaster. They've been a disaster. They moved into a new warehouse. They bought Plano and Flambeau, and that created all kinds of problems, and it backed everything all up, and it's just a mess. I don't know. They're talking something good about June and July, but we don't even try to say when stuff's coming in anymore with them because it's so impossible. Yes, they are coming out with a ton of new stuff, and I don't know when they're going to make it. I mean, they can come out with all new stuff and put it on paper and all that kind of stuff. We have no idea when they're going to come in. So that's all I can tell you about Berkeley. It's up in the air. We don't know. We're in tight with those guys. When it's available, we'll get it. We'll get it in Northeast probably before anybody else, but who knows? We'll see. So, George, we have some great apparel from Shimano.
Yeah, I got a couple, just 2 shirts I want to talk about.
Cool looking shirts.
Right now. There's more coming. There's more coming. There's a whole series of new shirts from Shimano and G Loomis.
Yep. Some new hat designs.
A bunch of new hats. We'll show a few things from here and there. These 2 shirts are really cool. So I know we're a bass fishing live show, but this is a cool looking shirt, man. This is the bluefin tuna design on the back, the Shimano logo on the front, and this shirt's made out of a heather material, and it's literally as soft as baby's skin. You feel like you have baby's skin when you put this shirt on. Looks like
it is. It's
a thing, man.
It's a weird material. It is so comfortable, man. It's unreal.
Yeah,
it's the most comfortable shirt you're ever going to wear.
And then the other model has a bigger Shimano logo
on the front.
And then it's got a cool little bass, little back hit on the back.
Yep. So that's the size of bass George catches all the time, right there.
And of course, it's the blue is really cool. It's the cyan blue.
Cyan
with that gray. It's a sweet shirt, man. And
not the cayenne.
And you got to get on them right away because we only got a limited supply of them. I would suggest going on the site and jumping on those right away if you want one. If you're interested in one, they are on there right now. You guys could take right there to take a closer look. Caitlin's got it up on there for you for the Accents. She was going to pop it up for the shirt here shortly. But take advantage of that. It's beautiful. Like George said, softest things in the world. Crazy.
Yep. You'll feel like you're wearing a baby's skin. Or you'll feel like your skin feels like baby's skin.
Yeah, that's better. That's better, bro.
Yeah, that sounded like Silence of the Lamb shit there. I didn't mean that. He puts the lotion on.
Shirts
fun.
are 20. What are they, George?
They're under 100.
They're $34.99 because of the baby skin feel
Yes.
that George is talking about.
Yes. They have to take each grain
Definitely-
of cotton and
it's
hand
definitely
comb
worth
it
it.
out to make the shirt. Yeah. So there's a lot of combing.
Yeah,
Um,
cool stuff though.
Also in the house, you
Yep.
know, the big thing for the last 14 months has been the availability of product, and obviously we have been laying it in.
We have been.
And in the last week,
Hang on a second, George.
yeah, I'll hang on.
Just 1 second.
Yeah.
How many people come in this shop and say, "Holy crap, where'd you guys get all this tackle?"
Everybody.
I mean, that's the thing right now. We have the stuff. We're missing a few things here and there, and there's some gaps. But I'm telling you guys, wherever you've been shopping, people are coming in. They're going, "What are you guys doing to get this tackle?" We're getting it. George is busting his butt, and he's getting it in here. And so, check us out. Come on in. If you can't find it, you got to stop in here. You go on our website or call us. If you don't see it on the website, call us, because some stuff just isn't. We have a warehouse full of stuff we're trying to get out, and we're short staffed, so we're having trouble getting stuff up. But it's here. We can tell you what's going on, and we got it. So,
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a quick rundown of some of the stuff that's been, high in demand and low on supply. I don't really want to bog down on it, but just in the last week, we've got some really big shipments. Big Yamamoto shipment, big Sim shipment. A lot of the new Sims colors are being loaded this week by Matt. The big clothing that we just talked about, more Shimano shirts, more G Lima shirts, new hats. Matt's also loading them as we speak. We got a Lose shipment.
Yeah.
We got reels in today that were on back order for 1 year and 2 days.
Wow.
1 year and 2 days, and all the money that we're going to make on those reels has already been spent in long distance phone calls to Lose to find out where in the hell they've been.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got Lose in. We got more Strike King. Strike King and Lose are owned by the same company.
Yeah.
They're shipping Strike King.
Yeah.
Don't ask about the Hybrid Hunter, though.
Yeah. Don't ask about that hottest damn thing going. You can't get it.
But they'll be here.
They're coming.
They'll be here.
Eventually.
We got a bunch of Z-Man in, and they are shipping a bunch more.
Yeah.
Z-Man's picking up the pace.
Just got notification today of a bunch of boxes from them coming,
and we got some in. So,
but
Greenfish tackle.
We got
a big load of Greenfish, and they're hurting on product, but they managed to
sneak us out.
They filled our order pretty good.
Yep.
And John Harrett, Greenfish.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, he said, I did the best for you, and I'm gonna fill you back in as it comes in.
Yep.
Normark, Rapala. We just received a couple big Rapala shipments. Picasso. Now, let me tell you something. This Picasso shipment kind of goes into in the pipeline. We like to do a little in the pipeline.
In the pipeline.
In the pipeline means in about a week, you're going to want to check sfttackle.com, because we got the rusted rivet buzzbait from Picasso.
Oh, son, get the net.
Up in the hizzy. You have to wear earphones to fish this buzzbait. Wow. It actually comes with the little gun shooting earphones. Okay. And they recommend you don't use test it in the house, because
so in other words, it's a
cats
squealer.
And babies will scream.
It's a
violently.
squealer. It's a squealer. Dogs will jump out windows.
So point being, Mike.
Yeah, a lot of stuff here.
Skids in the warehouse.
Yep.
Racks full.
Yep.
I wanted to talk about that because it makes me happy, because we've been working our freaking asses off trying to get product in here.
Yep.
And, because you guys are coming in and asking for it.
Kevin.
So there you go.
Kevin Carpenter. Yeah, we got the big sizes.
George.
We got the big sizes for you, bro.
Well, no, actually, Shimano is and G Loomis have gone decidedly
that's
anti-fat people.
Oh, that's right.
And they have discontinued 3X.
Them sons of guns.
I have a
The hell's the matter with them guys?
We have a formal complaint into them. HR is looking at it right now, but
golly bum.
but 2X's are pretty ample.
The hell's the matter with them people?
2X's are ample. So
yeah,
but I ain't gonna lie to you. That there baby skin cloth that don't have the right drape for the big boys. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know, you're gonna look like a tear off on a NASCAR windshield.
Oh God. Oh God.
it is soft though. I'd wear it just because it's soft.
I'd buy it just to clean my sunglasses with, because you ain't gonna scratch your coasters with that thing.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I'd wear it. I don't care. I don't care what people think.
No, I didn't say. Now you're going down a whole nother. You're going down a whole nother path there. Now
Yeah.
you're getting into some Dr. Oz stuff
Oh yeah,
with the mind.
yeah.
Yeah. So, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So, Corbin,
Yes.
I know that you have been putting in tremendously long hours on the water, both largemouth, smallmouth, and
Socializing, of course.
you've been noticing some key deals with your presentations and one of them, which seems pretty simple, you wanted to share with the world. So why don't you tell us about a couple of things that you have played with. Some of it's loaded up on SFT, some of it's in the pipeline for next week. But I know two things that I found really interesting. The one I didn't even know happened.
Which one? I mean, well, we'll save that. We'll save the best for last.
The Ocho, baby.
But
The Ocho. You got to tell us about the Ocho.
Oh, well, yeah. But
The Ocho has changed.
All right. So, for those of you guys that like to throw Senkos and stick baits and anything where you're wacky rigging, Texas rigging, I mean, I throw a lot of the Z-Man Zinkers. I throw the regular Senko. You got the Berkeley General. You got the Strike King Ocho. And historically speaking, I wasn't a big fan of the Ocho. Why? Because if you threw it out and you hooked fish in it, it would rip in half. I mean, bad. Like worse than a Senko. It was that soft. So
It was.
I was like,
I mean, if you're going to talk about a product, you got to tell the good and the bad.
yeah. I mean, like you'd go like this and it would just rip right in half. But now all of a sudden I was fishing with George the one time and I pulled a newer pack out of my boat and I'm like, man, this is pretty tough. Like
I'm telling you,
I mean, it is like day and night. I mean, for those of you guys, I mean, I'm pulling this fairly hard. I'm not going to tear the bait, but I mean,
it takes a lot.
It's not a Lastec, but I'm almost wondering if there's not a little bit of a crossover going on there. I mean, put it this way.
I think Greg Hackney had something to do with it.
Oh, I mean, he was up there. He was
There
up
he
there.
is, boys.
Get that son.
I got him.
He's all up there.
He
you know
on.
what I mean,
Fly
put it this
down,
way.
fly down.
I'm not, guys. When I wacky rig, I don't use the O-ring tool, and I mean, people make fun of me because the amount of Senkos I go through. But,
Well, I mean, man of your money, it don't matter.
yeah, right. Yeah, right. But I mean, for me, it works great, and it's very durable. You still get the little bit of a different action, and
I mean, this is major.
I mean, dude, this is big time.
major. I mean,
Because,
if you wacky rigged an Ocho without an O-ring,
right, it
might
cast
break
on-
in half on the cast.
Correct.
If you were power launching,
Yeah,
like you had to use an O-ring,
correct.
or else you had to have the big 15-gallon Bass Mafia money bag full of that color of Ocho.
Correct.
And I don't know.
It's definitely tougher, and I'm wondering if they're going to make it a little tougher.
And they didn't really talk about that.
No.
But
No.
guess what? You heard it here.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like the KVD, the drop shot, the perfect plastic, how that's really soft. This is definitely tougher than the Dream Shot.
But it's super soft.
but it's still super soft and it still smells like caffeine and it still has a lot of salt in it and fish still eat it. So
Yeah.
Does it smell like caffeine or coffee?
I mean, caffeine, coffee, whatever, tomato, tomato, potato, patata. I mean,
that's Brazilian for coffee.
Yeah, I mean-
caffeine. I got you.
I just got my coffee high,
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys are in the middle of a Senko bite and you want something a little bit different, fall a little bit different, I mean, this is what I carry them for, especially when I'm fishing pressured waters. I throw a ton of Z-Man, but every once in a while, I just got to throw something a little bit different. So,
Yeah. So I call that revolutionary.
Hey, I mean,
Revolutionary.
you know,
Yeah.
Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last, baby. We got to
Yeah.
get in the front and lead the
Yeah.
pack, man.
Bring it.
So Sunday, Mike, while you were at another soccer tournament
Yeah, I'm done with those
in
now.
the 98-degree heat,
Yeah.
old Corbin and Joey and I took a ride on the Susquehanna River in the jet boat.
Yep.
I took your river trail out. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I took the boys fishing, and Corbin decided that he was going to product test another bait that's in the pipeline.
Yep.
That we should have up pretty quick here.
Yeah.
I know Matt's working on it right now.
I showed up.
We've been on a bit of a swim bait kick.
Oh, yeah. I showed up, and George picked me up at the dock around 11 o'clock because I was a little late in the morning. I wasn't in a hurry. Rule number 1. I had to go home, get my stuff put together. I just finished cleaning up my lawn at the cabin and got stung by a bee and had a couple 5 stars and whatever. I mean, either way, I was there to go fishing. I had some work to do.
TMI, brother. TMI.
Well. So I show up, I bring 1 rod, and I had 3 baits for the purpose of product testing. I had a Strike King Hybrid Hunter Jr., which we'll talk about that when they come in more and how that swims. And
yeah,
I had a Mega Bass mag draft, of course. And
that's our latest.
That's my bait.
That's our latest kick. Mag drafts and mag slows.
Yeah,
we're like we feel like Junior Oliver Nyes. We are all of a sudden our swim bait. We're swim baiters.
George got his Zaldane glasses coming in. That's how
yeah.
dialed in
I'm getting
is.
a pair of them big Zaldanians.
Heck yeah.
And so, I mean, when I saw this big old hammer dog come in, I was like, I got to get me one of these.
The Dunkel.
And
from Jackal.
I don't know what intrigued me about this swim bait other than it says big impact natural action. And I'm like, that's my bait, bro.
I gotta have that.
I gotta have that.
It's 7 inches.
7 inches. It's 2.1 ounces, I think.
2.1 ounces. It's got a very interesting harness system that allows you to rig the hook also on the top. So if you want to crawl that bad boy on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what.
It swims.
Real nice.
Now, I don't know how to rig this one on the top, George. You might have to show this one for everybody.
Well, we'll do that at another time.
But I mean, tail action, guys, I'm going to say it's, for those of you swim bait guys, I'm going to say it's almost like a money minnow type thing. As far as it's soft, it's durable, great action.
It swims at an extremely slow pace.
Yep. And I mean, obviously with it being 2 ounces, you can really cast it. But what's unique about this is when I was fishing on grass, not like grass beds, but like what we call grass on the river.
Water willow.
And I mean, I was fishing around the outside of it, and when it falls, like you would think a 2 ounce bait's going to fall like that. To me, it actually fell slower than the mag draft, and obviously the mag sled. But when it fell, you could just see this big tail just kicking,
waving,
big time. It was like, boom, 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 and then when you reel it in, it swam
great. And the other thing that we noticed about it
skipped. Unbelievable. I mean.
You want to skip some boat docks?
Yeah, if you want to, I ain't gonna say it's like the best swim bait on the market. Okay?
No, we're not saying that. We're just giving the A+ on it.
It's gonna have a time and a place, and I mean, I like it. The color selection's great. They have some of those that Jackal has. Of course, their typical 1 or 2 colors that you're like, when would you ever use that?
Yeah, some impact colors,
right? Yeah. And those are the ones that I'm thinking I might like a little bit from time to time. But I mean, I was very impressed with how it swam. I was very impressed with how this unique hook design held the hook, how it skipped, how it fluttered, and most importantly, how it tracked in the water.
Yeah, and Matt, IT Matt, part of the SFT team, is he's working on a few things right now, and he sent me a message the other day, and he said, you get anything real hot, drop it on me. I'll drop it on real quick. So look for the Dunkel to be loaded up here in a day or two. And yeah, so that's a couple things in the pipeline. That's a big breaking news story. We got it before Fox did on the Perfect Plastics.
Yeah.
Yep.
We broke it. We broke it wide open.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if Strike King was keeping this under
I-
wraps
yeah.
or what.
Figured
But
it out.
their Ocho sales are probably going to go down significantly because you're not using that many of them.
Well, I wonder if they're going to do the same thing with like the rage crawls and the rodents, because
I doubt it. Hey guys, we got another legend sighting.
Oh, I'm right here.
Now I want to tell you about this. This guy right here is a great friend of the shops, and if you're a Potomac River tournament fisherman, you do not want to see him backing down the ramp in the morning. And that's our good friend Goldie, William Glufelty from Virginia. He is a hand-carved crankbait making machine.
Yep.
I believe
hammer.
I believe a couple years ago in the spring, I gave you a fairly significant grass cranking lesson on one of his baits.
I don't seem to remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the day that you were talking to your brother Mike and your friend went in the water?
Yeah.
And Mike called me back and
that day.
we were in Piscataway and he's like, George just dropped his phone in the water.
Whoa. Don't give any GPS coordinates.
Well, I mean,
There was a lot of people don't know about that spot.
Yeah, but you weren't cranking there. I mean,
Yes, I was, Bobby.
Oh, yeah. I must have missed that one.
I was cranking with Goldie's little flat-sided red crankbaits, and what can I say?
All I remember is
I know it hurt. It hurt to watch it.
I only remember one thing about that day, George, and besides your phone being dropped in the water,
Everybody remembers that.
the killifish, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about that.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, Goldie.
Yeah. The funny Goldie story.
My Goldie crankbait box is getting a little low, so I'll have to call you.
Yeah, a funny Goldie story. We used to do the Timonium Bass Expo down in Timonium, Maryland, and Goldie would be there, and we knew that he would always bring like crankbaits,
The goods.
and he would put them in these egg cartons, and we knew that they were going to go really quick, and he only had like a couple dozen baits. And we would
We corner the market.
we get there, we would start setting up, and everybody's looking for Goldie coming in. We're setting up, and looking, and all of a sudden Goldie comes through the door, and everybody starts taking off. Goldie, let's take a look at them baits, because it was like you wanted to get there and look at the baits and buy them right away, because he always had some cool colors and some cool baits.
It was kind of like a Dave Chappelle skit. Yeah, you don't get any of them hand carved crankbait over there.
I mean, it was like we would jump on them, and we'd buy several, get our couple before anybody else would get them. And but he would always sell out, man. Like a couple hours, they were gone all the time. So like real nice with that. Thanks for stopping by, Goldie.
Love them.
So I don't know. It was a good show tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
we covered some good stuff.
Things.
Covered some good stuff.
Classic tomorrow.
John
the
Cox is going to win.
Classic tomorrow. We got our classic picks in. Everybody can put their classic picks in. If you have some classic picks that you want to drop on Facebook or any of our social media sites, drop them in there. We'll check them out. And it's a good time to talk about things and watch this, because it's gonna be a good time. Fishing wise, guys, it's happening. Things are going really well. Get out there. The bite's on. The post spawn bite is happening. So cool stuff. Get your big deep diving crankbaits if you never tried them, and take them out. And fish those things.
So you said last week your hot deal from last weekend, you were chatterbaiting.
Yeah.
Anything special trailer wise?
We used the well, the only thing I could say, I don't know how in depth, but it's the thing was for us was, I think it was pretty funny, because in the morning when we established the chatterbait bite, which when they hit a chatterbait, they'll hit a chatterbait all day. You know how it is. So we established that chatterbait bite, and that was a silver blade white body.
Okay. Well, how about the trailer? Because to me, the trailer's key.
We were using the Yamamoto
Zacho?
Yep. Zacho. And we went out to the
standard or paddle tail?
The standard.
Okay.
And we caught some good fish on it first thing in the morning, and then we ran out to the flats, and I start bombing this thing out there. And I'm not getting bit. I'm bombing it. I'm not getting bit. Greg's bombing it, and there's one. There's one. there's one. I'm like, what the hell? And he's like, Mike, you got to make a change. I'm like, what are you talking about? He swings his bait back. Well, here he made a change.
Trailer or color?
On the way out, and he made a blade color change.
Okay.
And a trailer color change.
Okay.
So the blade was the trick. It was a blade color thing. It wasn't shiny anymore. It was a duller color. And it was more of a shaddy kind of perchy kind of look to it, a little bit more. But that blade was the trick. So we as soon as we did that, I tied mine on. I'm not kidding you, 2 casts. My second cast, I bombed it out there and caught one right away. So I knew right away that it was a color thing right away. And the second thing about that whole deal was, like I said earlier, the bomb casts.
Yeah.
You had to throw the bomb cast. And the third thing on that, which I fought with all day long, and I don't like to do it, but I didn't bring any of my stuff. I was at the mercy.
Well,
I was fishing with 15-pound fluorocarbon,
which I like,
in the grass, but it was because of the bomb cast. You get like 2 cranks and you would get in a clump, and they busted out of the clump. I mean, you had to rip it like you were killing somebody, like you were whooping a dead horse. You know what I'm saying? It was like you really had to rip it out of there because there was so much stretch on those long casts. And to me, I don't like that. I like braid for that so that you can chop it through. And I had commented to Greg, and I said, man, we're killing ourselves with this. He says, yeah, I get it, but I don't think you get the bites. That was his thing. I don't think you get the bites. You got to go to that 15-pound. He thinks he gets a lot more bites on 15-pound fluorocarbon. And I don't know. I wish I would have had my stuff, because I'd have had 30-pound braid with, and then I would have put a leader on, a 15-pound leader on there. And just to see if that would have still worked, but to see what the difference would have been, but we were whooping their asses. I mean, it was doubling up a couple times.
Damn,
it was fun.
Well,
fun.
I thought I had little insight on your story there, but I wanted to share it because it's those little kind of details that we like to focus in on here. And Corbin and I made an interesting discovery the week before, which we were going to talk about on last week's show, which obviously got canceled. And our discovery is also chatterbait related, but we had an instance where the stealth blade became the deal.
Yes, it did.
And our scenario was we found freshly post-spawn fish that were just coming back on the feed. And we found bait, and they were picking this bait apart. And you could catch them a couple different ways, but there were some of them you couldn't catch at all.
Nope.
I mean, they would just blow up on bait, and it wasn't like a wolf pack. It was like individual snipers.
Yeah.
Coming out and getting them.
Yeah.
It was wild.
So we put on the stealth blade.
Nice.
The water was clear, so we put on a clear water shad stealth blade with a little skinny Kitech swing impact
4-inch
trailer, boot foot. And let me tell you something. We went from them struggling on those snipers to absolutely pounding fish, and they were all big. Yep. I mean, we had a lot for the rest of the day. For the next 4 hours, that bait produced a lot of big fish.
That's interesting. That's interesting because, a lot of people don't know about that stealth blade, when to use it. It's like frustrating to a lot of people.
So
it doesn't wobble right, doesn't do this.
Yeah.
And they just kind of push off the side.
And which is why I keep bringing it up, because Corbin and I learned a lot that day about it.
Again, yeah.
And we've had, and you were along on one trip.
Yeah.
We've had 3 distinct outings in clear water with fish on bait that were hard to catch,
pressured,
that the stealth blade cured. And that little blade, man, it feels exactly like a 1/4 ounce rattle trap vibration.
Yeah.
A little different.
And I was catching them on the flats for that Shimano tournament with that too.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. In clear water.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
George, quick question. One of the things we did put the stealth blade on our social media, and questions came up. Are you using the same rods, reels, line for the stealth blade as you are the jackhammer and stuff like your regular?
I am.
Yes, I am.
I definitely am.
If anything, I mean, the only other thing, if you change anything, you can go to 12-pound line and more of a medium heavy rod. But for me, I mean, I'm not, dude. It's still a chatterbait. I mean, it's still 3/8 or a ½ ounce. You still have that weight to go with it.
Got
You're
a big
still gonna
hook.
load the rod.
I mean, got a big hook in it.
Just because it's a lighter wire hook, okay, you don't have to hit them as hard. But I mean, for me, I'm not changing a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fish my heavy chatterbait outfit. Like when I'm fishing grass, like Mike was in, I take my rod power up 1 notch and I take my line up 1 notch. But on the Stealth Blade, I go with my standard setup, like Corbin said. I fish 15 fluorocarbon. The hook is a 4.0, and it's got that stealthy gray coating on it, which is like Teflon. And the hook set is very efficient.
Yeah.
These fish, my experience with the Stealth Blade is the fish that I've caught were all bait fish oriented, whether they were on shad or what I call river minnows. And when they ate that Stealth Blade, they destroyed the Stealth Blade. There's no like, oh, I missed one. It's like, get me another trailer.
Yep.
So Corbin and I were really excited to talk about it last week, and of course we didn't have our program last week, but now, because of Mike's story on that, and we always like to talk about technique and tackle here.
Yeah. And
this was just so timed out right to kind of talk about. I use a medium heavy 7 foot. And I like a lot of different brands of rods, but my favorite rod for this scenario is a Loomis 843. I also fish the 7.2 medium heavy X Pride and Poison Adrena, which actually are a little more heavier powered than the medium heavy, the 843 fast taper. So I like the fast taper. Whatever rod you use, if you're not using glass, don't use the extra fast taper. Use the fast taper because the rod's a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
And then 7 something gear ratio, 15 fluoro.
Yeah.
Stealth Blade. I don't know. It's becoming a major tool in it's not a pre-spawn deal.
No,
it's not a pre-spawn
deal.
Not
a dirty water deal.
It's not a dirty water deal.
It's
not a jackhammer replacement. It has nothing to do with the jackhammer.
No,
it's a whole different jackhammer.
Yeah, you get an area where you're fishing in grass and there's a bunch of guys bombing these things around, and you're like, damn, everybody's throwing the same thing. It's good something. Pick it up and throw it and show them something different, and you'll have some great stuff there.
Yeah,
Abel.
That's
Avelia,
Cuba.
Yeehaw from Texas.
That's Cuba.
This one is?
Yeah, it's Cuba.
What up, Cuba?
What do you mean Cuba?
That's Cuba.
Oh, is that Cuba?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Cuba.
You going to the Classic, Cuba?
Yeah. Yeehaw, baby.
Thanks for checking in.
I'll tell you what, if I was going to Classic, I'd go to one of them Bucking Bronco places, bars. Get me on one of them some guns.
If I was going to the Classic, I wouldn't be there for blast off, but I'd be there for weigh-in. Because I might be having me a time in Fort Worth, baby.
Guaranteed.
Yes, sir. He's going.
Yes, sir. He's going. He's right there. Dang it.
Well, I know we'd be getting us some good barbecue down there.
And a big old steak, couple of 5 stars.
All right, stop talking about that.
Son.
Yep.
Well.
So so that's a little bit of talk on some tactic there. Yeah. Corbin, you got anything you want to throw in before we wrap this puppy up and put a bow on it?
I mean, I think I'm good tonight, man. John Cox is going to win the Classic.
Yeah,
that's
a good idea. I mean, it's a good call.
The new Shimano X-Sense is badass.
It's a good call.
KVD's still the GOAT. Wheeler's quickly approaching.
Look at Tom Mills jumping in here and telling us to go to Billy Bob's down in Fort Worth.
Tommy Mills. He's been around. He knows all them joints, man.
Yeah, he's got more miles on him than a 1968 Greyhound bus.
He ain't scared of a good old barbecue either, let me tell you.
No. And if I was going down, I would go there because of that recommendation.
I would absolutely go there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Hey, what do you think, Mike?
Yeah, it's all good.
Nick, wrap it up. Put a bow on it.
Nick, you're good. George is good.
All good.
Everybody's good.
Next week,
Gonna
same
have-
time,
Yeah, we'll have a big old show next week.
post classic
Post classic fun.
paying of the wager.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some fishing next week. We're going to do a little research, product development research and technique research on Sunday.
Mhm.
And we're going to have some largemouth talk next week.
So everybody out there, have a great weekend fishing. Smash them up, crash them up, and we will see you guys next time on Tackle Shop
Tackle Shop
Live.
Live.
I met you on a sunny day. Right there, you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day, you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down, knowing how you're blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait, it's not a funny game. You know just what I feel. Please tell me our love is real.